Hey BoLS fans, AdamHarry back again with another BoLS Battle Report. Today we are playing some Dark Age from Cool Mini or Not. I'm playing with GentleBen. Say hi, Ben.
Hi.
These are his two armies, factions. We were playing earlier, learning the ropes again. I got to play a demo at Gen Con. I'll put a link somewhere in the description. Check that out if you are interested in playing. A couple other things if you are interested in playing. This is the rulebook. This is what it looks like. It's currently the 2013 version. Probably going to get an update at some points this year. Also, you can check their website at dark-age.com where you can find downloads for just about all of the rules, right, Ben?
Yeah, they have all the cards that you can just download and print out. They've got the rules. Pretty much everything you would need is there on the website.
And this is all for free.
Yeah, everybody's printer just had a colossal failure today, so we're going to be doing this on pads and smart devices. No actual printed cards. So I guess technically you don't have to even print them. But yeah, they have everything you need to play there, and they update the models once a year. They've just spoiled that they're going to do some updates to some of the models I'll be using. We're not using those versions. We're using the ones that...
The current ones.
Yeah, the ones that as of like the end of January are still up for download on their site.
Right on.
Not the ones they've been showing off on Facebook.
Cool. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and go over the army lists.
Adam today is going to be playing as the Kukulkani. I think that's how it's pronounced. Sounds about as close as it's going to get to me. These guys are, we're looking at the human thralls of an alien race. These guys were picked up from Central America around the year like 1000 AD, and they've been in outer space ever since, working as the warriors for this advanced alien race. So that's kind of why they have this crazy Space Mayan vibe.
Space Aztec Mayan.
A lot of what their abilities revolve around, they really like to kill the other player's models. So for what it's worth, I put Adam in a pretty good position today by playing a fairly large Outcast force, so I have a lot of models to kill. So this guy, you can see he has this die beside him. Adam's using that as his Technomancy counter. He starts the game with one of those, and he can use those to cast cool rituals. Now he only gets more of those counters if models die within 3 inches of that guy. That's Quetzal. So he's going to want to kill models close to mine and then do cool things with rituals. Otherwise we have these guys are living ancestors. They're supposed to sort of have like a crystal skull thing going on, so they got this crazy death gaze. Oh no, sorry, those are honored dead. The two models are the honored dead. This guy is the living ancestor, and he's sort of similar. These guys are actually walking corpses. He's not.
I'm not dead yet.
Similar.
Yep.
He's a little bit more boss.
Yep.
So this guy, he's kind of an all-rounder. He's in charge today. All Kukulkani forces have to be led either by a war captain or a war priest. Quetzal is a character war captain, so he's the one in charge today. He does a lot of different things. He's pretty good in melee. He has a pretty good shooting attack, and of course, like I said, he already has the rituals. He's pretty tough to kill, so he's kind of a good all-rounder. And then these guys, these are just grunts. At 35 points, they're on the cheap scale. They're the same points as my sort of low-range grunts. I've got some even cheaper models though, but in this game I think about maybe 10 or 15 points is as cheap as it goes. I don't know what Dragiri slaves run you these days, but 35 points is just a schmo, really.
Cool.
So that's your force. Over here, oh, and by the way, we've already deployed. Adam flipped his model around to look
just to show him off.
He's pretty much deployed. So, because he's one of my favorite models in the game, I got Mongo here. You might have seen the painting article I did for him a while back, but here he is actually going to take to the field and maybe smash some stuff. He is one of the hardest hitters in the game. He can just smash just about anything. Unfortunately, he's kind of slow, and he goes down pretty easy because even though he looks all big and strong, he's really just like a big human. So, you know, he still isn't that hard to damage, but he will smash just about anything. He is a brute. These guys are... they're genetically engineered workers made by humans like centuries ago. Because remember, this is like a sort of a post-apocalyptic setting, so it's all human collapse. So a lot of those guys are still around. This is a regular brute. Mongo is the largest brute that is known to exist. So he's kind of their leader. This is just a regular brute, so you can see he's a little bit bigger than a dude. Also really slow, but also hits really hard. These guys are just wasteland warriors. They're just kind of your sort of, just guys trying to survive out in the wasteland, gathering up scrap and trying to get whatever food they can. And because the Outcast faction is so desperate, they will actually send their kids into battle, and that's what these guys are. These are scuts with crazy razor boomerangs, and to make sure they don't get out of line, they have a bully. So that's the bully right there. And yeah, so let's see. So they have their crazy boomerangs. If they hit you with a boomerang, it's not very likely to wound you, but it will put a whiplash counter on you, causing you to lose an action point during your activation. Action points are crucial. Use action points to move, action points to shoot, so you don't want to lose any of them. The bully has a pretty decent gun that he can shoot twice. He can also stab things in melee. He has a similar ability. He has a paralyzing poison that works the same way as their whiplash counters. It puts a paralyzing poison counter out. So these guys can do nasty things to cause other models to lose action points, so they're kind of like debuffers, I guess you could say. The Wasteland Warriors, you can see at least this guy, he has a crazy zip gun. If one of my guys hits with that, I mean there's a bunch of complicated special rules involved with it. The simple version is, if he hits once, I can just spend AP to cause additional hits and some other annoying things. So those are pretty cool. They're not the most accurate guns, but then when you do hit with them, easy to do auto hits.
Yep.
And then these guys, slow, kind of sort of tough, not that tough, really smashy.
Cool, cool.
That's the best way to sum up this first.
Right on. Well, let's pause real quick and then we'll go over the board and the scenario. Okay, Ben, can you go over some of the board, or actually all of the board features, the terrain rules that we're using, just the stuff that we have gone over before the game like good opponent should?
Okay, so whenever you put out terrain in Dark Age, they have a rule of terrain, basically a set of terrain keywords, and you say this terrain does these things. So these big scrap heaps, they're going to have the rough feature and the cover feature. That means whenever you move through them, it's going to take 2 extra inches of movement per AP, and they're also going to provide cover, which is -2 to the assault and POW also, I think, of the enemy's shooting weapons.
Shooting, yep.
These guys are going to be a little different. They're going to have the dangerous and also the rough keywords. They're like disgusting pits. We don't know what's going on there. It doesn't sound good. So if you move into them at all, you risk taking a POW 4 hit. Otherwise, these things are pretty much just what you'd expect. That you can't see through them, you can't move through them. Oh, and these little barricades, they're also going to provide cover. So a model, if part of it's obscured when you're trying to shoot at it, through one of these things it gets covered.
Yep.
It's pretty straightforward. Now as for the scenario, in Dark Age there are, you got your extreme tournament scenarios in the book. So there's the primary scenarios. Now normally there are also secondary scenarios. We're not going to bother with one of those today. So since we're not bothering with those, the easiest one for us to do is Mark for Death. That's a little weird. Basically, we're going to have guys run up to these scenarios and they're going to become the chosen
objectives,
yeah. Yeah, sorry, run up to the objectives, and when you touch the objective, you can become the chosen of death.
There can only be one chosen on the board at a time.
Right.
Yep.
And if an enemy model kills a chosen of death, it becomes a chosen of death. And this just keeps going until the end of the game. Now, normally it's timed, but because we're recording, it's a little more difficult, so we're just going to go for 4 turns. And the one who is the one of us that's going to be the winner at the end is the one who has the chosen of death still alive. So when the game ends, if you are in control of the chosen of death, you win the game.
The other thing too is the chosen of death cannot be healed, and also if you're not touching one of the objectives, if you're not in contact with it, you take a wound. So
that makes sure the chosen of death has to hang out near the center.
Yep. Cool. All right, so a couple other things too. Dark Age uses D20s. So we're going to be rocking the D20s, so plan rule 6 is maybe out. Rolling low is actually good in this game, so I may be back in.
Good. Rolling low.
Rolling low is good. It's D20 based, and then also action points are involved. So the way action points work, each model has a certain number of action points. Generally, it's around 3, I'd say for the most part.
3's pretty average.
3's pretty average. With those action points, you can spend an action point to do an action, like moving, attacking, etc. There are special actions that you can do. Again, for more information on the rules, go check their website. It's free. Just go check them out. And then the tutorial that I shot. So yeah, exactly. So go check them out. It's really cool. With that said, we're going to pause real fast and we'll roll for initiatives and we'll get started. Okay, we just rolled off for the initiative. Ben rolled a 6. I rolled an 8. Rolling low is good, so he actually won. So one of the cool things about this game is it is a I go, you go format. But with the initiative, it changes every turn. And also, if you win the initiative roll, you can opt to go first and move any of your models, or you can make your opponent move a specific model first. So Ben has opted to make me move Kitzel there. I'm gonna call him Queso at some point, so just get used to it, folks. So I'm moving him. I'm moving Kitzel, and he is, I am forced to do that, so I get first move, but Ben has forced me to move him. So it's kind of neat, but we'll play the turn out.
It's not just first move, because if you happen to walk in range of one of my guys, and that's maybe possible because I infiltrated.
Yep. Well,
so these guys to pull it up. You might be able to get a shot off, but I don't.
There is pre-measuring this game, so I can pre-measure at any time, any distance I need to. So that's also important to note. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start playing and do some damage. So here we go.
Okay, so it looks like forcing Quetzal to move first wasn't the best idea. He has this stream template. As you can see, it's long and thin, and he has as a character, a kind of expensive one. He has 4 AP. And a move of 3, so he was able to move 9 up and then use his final AP to lay down that spray. So he's going to hit 2 of my scuds. And we know from last game that they are defense 4. So what that means is, what is your assault?
My assault is 8.
All right, so we saw already that he covered...
7. This is
7. So we saw already that he covered these 2. Now with his assault of 7, what we're going to do is add my defense of 4 to that for a total of 11. And he's going to need to roll under that, because like we said, rolling under is always good. So let's see.
The first one on the front guy?
Where are you going to throw those dice down?
Right.
Oh yeah, we do need to do these one at a time.
Yep. That's a 1. See?
So that is a 1.
That's the 20.
So yeah, he's using his infinity dice. So that's a 1. So for our very first roll of the game, Adam has done a critical hit. So whenever you get a critical hit, you ignore the model's armor completely. Normally I get to make an armor saving roll, but because of that critical, he's just going to die. Now, if you have a medic or a model with some kind of ability that can heal, you don't just pull models when they die. They kind of lie on the ground groaning, and if the heal guy gets over to him, you can fix them. But I didn't bring any medics, so we're just going to pull him. Oh, right, and Adam thankfully has remembered. Some of my models have the scavenge ability, so if those models with the scavenge ability move over that little counter that Adam just put down for me, thank you, Adam, they're going to get bonuses to their weapons, because they're going to pick up little pieces. Scavenge. Yeah, they're going to scavenge. They're going to take the best parts from that dead guy's weapons and put them on their own.
Second shot.
Second shot. No more crits for you, please.
12.
All right, so what do we have there? So 12.
I needed an 11, I believe.
You need to roll an 11 or below, so that is going to be a miss.
But this attack also has conduction, so it is based off of hit, but the guy that got hit is dead, so it's not going to hit him again. He's already dead. Therefore, the attack is done. And that is...
All right, so that little guy is going to get to live a little longer.
A little bit longer.
All right, and we're out for now. All right, so that last little example we showed, because Adam cleverly rolled a critical hit, he totally skipped out on the damage part. So my bully moved up. It's this guy here, looking all cool. He picked up that scavenge counter that the poor dead scut left behind. That means he's an even better shot, and his gun's a little stronger. And he just shot Quetzal.
No!
So that means Quetzal has to make an armor save. Now with the scavenge counter, his pistol's gone up to a POW 5. And Quetzal's arm is 15?
18.
18, sorry. So that means you are going to need to roll a 13 or below, correct?
Correct. So 18 minus 5, 13. 18
minus 5 is 13.
Roll under 13 for my armor save.
There we go.
So here we go.
Let's see, let's do this. Roll high, real high.
7.
7. All right, so that means Quetzal passes armor save. The bully's pistol useless against the advanced technology of the Kukulkani.
Science!
And we probably won't be back till after the turn. All right, so we're here at the end of the turn. Everybody's moved up. So we got one more thing to resolve before the turn ends, but let's go down through what happened up until now. So one thing we forgot to mention at the beginning of the turn was a special rule that the Kukulkani have. If they have a warcat, that he gets to use a special rule called Conquest, where he gets to pick a model
within 8 inches.
Within 8 inches, and then that model can spend 1 AP on movement.
But it's a free move.
It's just a free move, basically.
Yeah, and you can also change. You can link stuff.
And you can link models, and that's one thing we didn't go over earlier. In this game, there's kind of the concept of units as you see them in like 40K or War Machine, but kind of not. Rather than be put into units, models have the link ability. When one model, like let's say this guy, activates within 4 inches of other models of the same type that have the link ability, those can be activated too. Although actually link is a keyword. So for instance, this bully, although he's not a scut, has the link scut rule. So when he activates, I can also activate scuts nearby. And
right.
Linkable always has a value. So depending on how expensive the model is, it could be like 3
right.
or 6.
Let me just show real quick too. The warrior here, you see right there at the bottom, he's a warrior 6. That means you can link up to 6 other warriors with him to do the move. So.
Right, and I think the bully's the same with scuts. He's
right.
scut 6. So when he activates, he can also activate up to 6 scuts. Now, what's interesting about it is you don't have to use it. So because it's a I go, you go, you might just want to activate one guy, and then you only put one of your dudes at risk, and then the other player has to go. There's no real coherency rule, obviously, except that you can't link if you're not within that 4 inches.
Right.
So anyway, that all brings us back to the whole conquest move. When Adam did his conquest move, he linked these 2 guys.
Yep.
That's why they're a little further up than they might have been.
They were back here, moved up, and then moved over.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, despite having a really high attack value, these guys are assault 8 on their deadly gazes. He still missed.
With my
scut's doing pretty cool.
My spray there, I missed.
And unlike most range attacks in this game, which are horribly inaccurate, most range attacks in the game you lose 1 point of accuracy for every 4 inches it goes. So if you're shooting at something a foot away, it's going to be at a -3 to hit. And again, rolling on d20s, so it's not as bad as in a lot of games. But you're going to be at a -3 to hit. So because of the sprays, they don't actually have a range. Sprays are really good because not only are they going to cover a lot of area, they're also never going to suffer those range penalties.
And they ignore cover.
So sprays are awesome. Unfortunately, he missed with the spray. It's the same with streams. You remember the stream from earlier?
Yep.
So anyway, so yes, those guys moved up. Tried to spray one of my guys. They failed. These guys activated. One of them managed to wound Quetzal with a boomerang throw.
The red die.
Yep. Now the white die is representing that whiplash counter, so when Quetzal activates, he's going to immediately lose 1 AP before anything else happens.
Womp womp.
Also, when I was activating the scuts, one of them moved up to an objective and became the Chosen of Death. So now Adam wants to try to hunt him down, and I can't really move him from there, because if I do, he'll just die, because that's what happens to the Chosen of Death.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, I activated Mongo. Adam activated his warriors. I activated my brute. Adam activated his living ancestor. It was pretty much just like usual first turn. Back and forth, back and forth. Now when I got to the time to do my Wasteland Warriors, they're about a foot away from Quetzal, which meant that they're really unlikely to hit. And I went back and forth a lot about whether I should even bother to shoot him or not.
But I goaded him into shooting.
You pretty much did.
Yeah.
You pretty much did. But it's fine. It's a game, whatever, it's cool. And the important point is that it's going to let us show you how the whole malfunction thing works. Weapons in Dark Age are always shoddily maintained. And then you got guys like the Kukulkani who, even though they have advanced technology, they don't really care if it hurts the dudes that are carrying it, so it's often dangerous anyway. So this poor girl right here, she decided she was going to shoot him, and not only did she miss, I rolled an 18. That is their weapon's mal value. So I'm going to have to roll a hit against her. So she's got an arm of, I believe, 14. Yes, that's correct. So it's a POW 4, so I need to roll a 10 or below, or she's going to die. Can I do it?
12.
I do not. So that is not a 10 or below, so she's going to die. So that sucks, although she will leave a scavenge counter here to help her dudes out. So that's always something important you have to think about.
Malfunctions are dangerous.
Sorry?
The malfunctions are dangerous.
Yeah, and if the odds are really against you for a shooting attack, maybe you don't want to make it. Furthermore, pretty much every army has some kind of guy with like a rule that's called superior maintenance, flawless maintenance, some kind of maintenance. They work differently. A lot of times a model will just say like, I have 3 superior maintenance counters. Each time you get a mal roll, I'm going to spend 1, you're going to ignore that mal roll. Other abilities will increase everybody's mal by 1. So if I'd taken one of those guys, that would have put her mal up to a 19, she wouldn't have rolled that at all. And those are all really important. Sometimes models will have things that just go catastrophically bad if they roll those mals. So in those situations, you absolutely have to have the guys who can do the superior maintenance stuff. But anyway, that's turn, so...
Turn 1 is over.
Turn 1 is over.
We're going to go to turn 2. Let's go ahead and roll the initiative real quick, Ben.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Show how that goes. Alright, Ben got a 14. I got an 8.
Alright, so that means...
So I get to pick.
Adam gets to pick, and he also gets to do his conquest thing. Remember, you're supposed to do that before we even do the initiative roll.
Well, here we go. I'm going to pause and do all that fun stuff. So here we go. Well, that was a pretty bloody second turn. So Ben wrote down our notes so we can keep track of everything because
Yep.
a lot happened. So Ben, why don't you tell us what happened, man?
All right, so Adam
First thing.
Adam used his conquest move to move these guys. As you see, one of them's dead now, but once there were two of them. So he used his conquest move to get him up to about here.
Yeah.
And then moved again, and then you were able to shoot twice. You took out 2 of my scuds, and you did a wound to the now deceased bully.
Yep.
The second one didn't have enough AP to shoot, so he just moved up and hung out, and that proved to be a bad decision. No, I think he did shoot. He just didn't do anything.
Yeah. He whiffed.
That proved to be a bad decision, although not as bad as it could have been, because then Mongo decided he was going to go in there and cause some trouble. So it took him 2 AP to get over there. So that second move counted as a charge, because a move that brings you into base-to-base contact counts as a charge. He has 2 attacks in his assault group. Assault groups are kind of like weapons. Sometimes they'll let you attack twice. So whenever Mongo attacks, he gets to attack with each of those crazy concrete slab fists of his.
Which also give him cover to shooting, but that's a whole other thing.
Shooting. Yeah. He's a pretty expensive model. 160 points is getting up there. It's about as expensive as they get. Anyway, so he's like I was saying earlier, he can smash about anything, and he smashed one of the Honored Dead pretty hard, but then he just totally whiffed on his second attack against the other Honored Dead. So unfortunately, only managed to take out 1 Honored Dead.
Yay for me.
After that, oh, and also Mongo does extreme damage. Extreme. So even though the Honored Dead have 2 wounds, it only took him 1 wound to kill the one.
I only failed 1 armor check, luckily, and that's all it took, though.
And that's one of the reasons why he's so good. Extreme damage is a really great ability. After that, so you sent in the warriors.
Yep, the warriors were here.
Once upon a time,
charge there.
There were 3 warriors. So one of them was standing where she is now, and they did 2 more wounds to Mongo. He'd already been wounded once by one of the Honored Dead. So now he only has 1 wound left. Now, Mongo's a hoss, so when he dies, he doesn't really die until he activates 1 more time. So he's still alive.
He just keeps going.
Yeah, he just keeps going. So you really did want to kill him, because now it's at least 2 activations before he really dies. Although we're going to be on turn 3 next. We said we're only going to do 4.
It's going to be quick, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick.
And this is but we haven't said this yet, but this is a 500-point game. So
yeah, 500 points is the second, is the lower of the 2 tournament format levels.
Right. So this isn't a small game, but
we're not doing like a dinky game. This is pretty normal. But that's fine. I've really been enjoying how fast it's been going. That's one of the cool things about Dark Age. You get to have a lot of fun. It gets resolved pretty quickly. Anyway, after that, I sent my brood up. These guys are pretty slow. He just barely managed to make it in contact with this warrior who's now gone. Then it was time for Quetzal to activate. Now, because he got smacked with a boomerang last turn, he had 1 AP less. So all he was really able to do was move up.
Which I moved
stream attack
here. Yeah.
Yeah, which wasn't as good as it could have been. But
move there.
That's how the bully managed to die. Was he got killed by that stream attack?
Yep.
And then the brute just didn't care that he got hit by the stream. He's still fine. And then he went over here and hit with his last AP, because I've got these Wasteland Warriors, and now I believe I mentioned their scavenge ability earlier. Whenever any model dies, they leave a scavenge counter, and I can move over them and pick them up, and that'll add to my stats. So right now these 2 are getting pretty buff.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So you remember one of them died from a freaking malfunctioning weapon first turn, but the 2 that are left, she's maxed out with 3 scavenge counters. He's got 2, so they're getting pretty beefy.
Yeah.
She's up to like assault 8 now.
Pretty ridiculous.
Which is as high as
these guys.
As high as this guy.
It's really good.
Now the one thing we forgot, the coolest thing for me this whole turn, speaking of the Wasteland Warriors, was he came up and shot Adam's living ancestor, which is a pretty buff dude. What are they? Like 85 points.
Yeah, they're pretty buff.
Something like that.
They have 2 wounds.
They have 2 wounds, but
like a 16 armor or something good like that.
Yeah,
16 or 18.
But whenever you critically fail an armor save in this game,
by rolling a 20.
By rolling a 20, that's how you critically fail an armor save. You suffer 2 wounds. Fortunately, some guys have the toughest nails rule, which makes you immune to that, and you only suffer the 1 wound. But unfortunately, not the living ancestor.
So the Honored Dead have it, but the living ancestor does not. So
yeah, so he rolled up with his crossbow or whatever the heck that is,
bow, shotgun,
and was just like, I'm bringing you down.
Blunderbuss of the Wasteland.
And because he did so well, I guess that's why, even though she has more counters, she failed a whack. that warrior, and he's still alive and kicking.
Womp womp. All right, so we are going to go to, well, first off, we're going to do my conquest move, and then we're going to roll for initiative. So we will see you guys turn 3.
Yep. Right, so we're getting closer and closer to the grind. First thing you'll probably notice is that the Chosen of Death is dead. So how did all that roll down? Well, Adam won the initiative roll again, just like he did last turn. It's on her dead that had moved up there, sprayed again and again with that template weapon it has. Now it had one of the things we forgot to mention, it has the point blank ability, so it can actually use its guns in melee. So it was able to just get a whole ton of models in the spray. So after 2 sprays, it had actually still not managed to kill Mongo.
I actually whiffed against Mongo twice.
Yeah, you whiffed against Mongo twice.
The Wasteland Warrior, the one that's next to him, moved up.
Yeah.
Well, I missed her.
He killed a Wasteland Warrior.
That was in the back.
He messed up against the Brute.
Yeah.
So all he really managed to do was kill another Wasteland Warrior. Now, after that, this Wasteland Warrior activated, took out the 2 remaining warriors, and then whacked him once for causing all that trouble. So she managed to kill or wound something with every single one of her 3 APs. So she's a pretty big boss right now.
Pretty impressive.
After that, Quetzal activated, and he did what the Living Ancestor could not. He dealt Mongo his last wound. Now remember, I said before, Mongo can do 1 last activation after he's killed. So Quetzal, who also managed to kill the Scut, who was the Chosen of Death with his spray, he is now the Chosen of Death, and as you remember, he's going to start taking damage and he's going to die if he doesn't base one of these objectives. So he had to go over here and try to hide in the rubble. Mongo charged after him, and of course, managed to whiff with both of his attacks. Really, the odds weren't too bad that he'd be able to kill Quetzal completely, but no, instead he decided he would whiff with both of his attacks. So because of the way that's his rule works, now that he finished that final activation, he's dead. So he's out of here. Mongo's done. Fortunately, I have a Brute who got close but couldn't quite reach Quetzal with his activation.
He did take a wound too, that's what that...
Oh, he did take a wound, so that's supposed to be with him.
From Quetzal's spray.
From Quetzal's spray.
Yeah.
So things are looking pretty bad for me right now.
Or stream, technically.
Yeah, stream. It's the long... Quetzal does the long, thin one. He does the short, fat one.
Yep.
They're both good for different reasons. So anyway, now I just have to hope that I can get the initiative so that maybe this Brute can get up in there. Ooh. He's actually about right here.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in base to base with the thing, but he kept sliding. So
if I get the initiative, I can probably whack him 3 times with the Brute, which would be pretty sweet. So that's what I'm gonna hope for.
Sweet for Ben.
So we're gonna pause the camera and we're gonna roll for initiative.
And it is now turn 4 too, so this will be the last turn.
This will be the last turn.
Yep. Okay, this is what it all boils down to. We've moved the models over here because this is pretty much the last part of the game and they were wobbly, so wobbly model syndrome. What's going on right now is the Brute has charged and he's actually whiffed the first 2 attacks. We were like, hey, whoa, we should record this. So the last swing here from the Brute, no pressure, Ben, no pressure. So we're gonna roll over here. Ben, if you would do the honors.
He needs a 9 or less, so that's not too bad. It's basically 50-50 or so.
No! Got an 11!
Alright, so
3 whiffs.
3rd whiff in a row. And for what it's worth, the first attack only needed a 10 because it was a charge.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering why, these guys haven't activated yet, but so, remember, he's the Chosen of Death. I have to have the Chosen of Death.
We're here, not back here. We just moved him. So.
Yeah. I have to have the Chosen of Death in my control at the end of the game, so I would have to be able to kill him with my Wasteland Warrior. She's engaged. Breaking free of a combat takes 2 AP. There's no penalty, no risk of getting hit, but it costs you 2 AP. She only has 3. And if you do break free from a combat, you cannot engage another model. So she could
kill him.
She could theoretically break free, or just kill him, I guess.
Yeah.
And then shoot him with her gun, but he has 2 wounds left, so really it was the Brute or nothing. Just like his big brother Mongo, the Brute has extreme damage. So if he had hit and Adam had failed his armor save, that would have been 2 points of damage to Quetzal, but the luck just wasn't with me. The Brute whiffed with all 3 of his attacks. So the Chosen of Death survives.
And that's pretty much
because he's technically in base to base.
Yep.
Over here. But he survives, and the Kukulkani win the day with the Chosen of Death, and the Outcasts they all pretty much died.
Space, Mayan, Aztecs. I know they're not the same, but I'm kind of confused where they get the name from. Either way,
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
It's in one of the books, whether they're Mayan or Aztec.
Anyway, my take on the game, this was actually really fast. I feel like once we got rolling, literally and figuratively, the game went by really quick. And it's really easy to learn. I feel like the rules were kind of written for people who have actually played miniature war games before. Yeah. So if you've played before, a lot of the concepts, a lot of the stuff is going to feel very natural, feel very familiar to you. So it's super easy to learn and jump into. The cards, again, super useful, all online. So check those out if you're interested in the game.
All you need are minis. All the stuff you need, all the rules, everything else you need, you can just download. So once you got your minis, you're good to go.
Yep.
The starter box is like $50. Usually has close to 300 points in it.
Yep.
So that's, I mean, like I said,
great starter army.
Point,
yeah.
So you
will need a lot of tokens or different colored dice.
Yeah.
Not a big deal though.
Yeah, I have all these tokens for all the different things. So we've got like our paralyzing poison, whiplash, you know, everything. And then on top of that, I have my multicolored bases to scavenge, because these are made by Weird, but they work really well because you can just stack the model on top of all their scavenge counters, except her, because she falls over because she's top heavy.
Well, there you go.
But anyway,
Dark Age,
a lot of fun.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys.
Honestly, it works so fast. I think if we do another one of these, we could maybe just film the whole thing.
Yeah, I think we might give that a shot next time. This game will definitely be popping up again because it's fun and I liked playing it. Thanks for the game, Ben.
You're welcome, man. That was fun.
Yep, good times. Thanks for watching, you guys at home. This is AdamHarry from BoLS signing off. Have a good one.